It's very hard for me to ever bet against Benjamin Johns. He has created such a massive expectation on the level that he plays at that when he has even an off game or an off day, it's like we immediately try to find these excuses on why he didn't play well. And that's just basically his own creation of how freaking good he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Line, brought to you by our friends at the prediction market, Polymarket, MLP presented by DoorDash. I am Adam Stone. I am a former pro player. I am the coach of the SoCal Hard Eights of Major League Pickleball and a PPA commentator. And my co-host, Jimmy Miller. I have no idea where you came from, Jimmy. I don't know what your credentials are. I don't know what your title is in the sport, but I tell you what, you are in the know. You have as much, if not the most, insider information on professional pickleball. How the hell are you?
I'm good, Stoney. Listen, I have no credentials. That's what makes us great, right? There's none. I just showed up one day off the streets and here we are. And listen, let's talk some pickle because nobody's going to tell me that I can or can't talk pickle. So I don't need a big long list, right? And by the way, you sell yourself short a little bit because I feel like PPA champion should be on that banner.
Hey, well, I mean, if we're going down the road of tooting my own horn, why not let's throw out 7 tournament wins versus Ben Johns, and we will not be discussing how many losses against that man, but 7 can't take it away from me. Let's go.
Absolutely. We had a huge week, Adam. Big week. Chicago. Some of us had a big week. Some of us struggled a little bit. Some of us dealing with some injuries. Let's talk MLP Chicago. I mean, let's get right to it. Not mess around. We like to be a little bit honest on this show. Arman Bhatia, your guy. He's been playing phenomenal. Suffered a little bit of a freak injury.
Yeah.
Can you give us his status? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Jimmy, it's maximum pain. The man just switched over from Yola. He was finding some feel with his new Luz paddle. Big Bhatia guy. I think the skill set is very nice. Good strategic mind. Knows what he wants to do out there on the court. Had a bit of a meniscus injury going in to the event, but an injury that was very play-throughable. And an unfortunate situation. Took a bad step after a men's match that he played, a men's match that he won, and apparently the meniscus frayed a little bit more because of that, and he is not going to be available for the duration of the Major League Pickleball season, unfortunately.
I mean, it's awful news for him. Like I said, he's been playing great. Your team, I feel like your team is probably firmly in the playoffs at this point. We all want to peak at the end of the season. I think that at least now you're done. Wait, do you play Orlando or you're done?
No, we are done. That was our last event. So okay. Now we are not mathematically guaranteed to make the playoffs, but it would take some moving and some shaking from multiple teams below us, and those teams are also in difficult groups for the last event of the season in MLP Orlando. So we're in pretty dang good shape.
Yeah, so I think you're in good shape. Is there a injury replacement coming for him? Are you rolling with Rafa Leonard and Will McKinnon? What's the plans there?
Yeah, so we have
for IR.
Yeah, we have discussed about possibly IRing Arman Bhatia, and that is still in discussion. Talked to Courtney Johnson, who told us that we have up until the event to make that possible move. So if you put Arman on the IR, it does not affect our ability to keep him for the following year in 2027, and we would possibly be able to get a doubles or a singles player to fill in as the third player. So we're going to talk about that internally with the man Rick Chan and general manager Vinny Brasha and see what we come up with. Will McKinnon, not known for his singles prowess, but he does have a unique non-tennis style singles game. So I wouldn't say that he's a chump out there, even though he is more known for his doubles game than his singles game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys will be okay. Obviously, I think you're look, Megan Dazan is elite, right? She's a top 10 women's player. I think Kaylin Campbell next to Megan Dazan has been elite this year. You just need, obviously, I think I actually said this on another podcast that sometimes I do, that I think Will McKinnon is one of the most improved players. We had a little bit of a debate, and this is a good question for you, about, if players are improving or regressing throughout the MLP season. And I said Will McKinnon and JLG actually are two great examples of players, in my opinion, that have improved throughout the MLP season.
Right, and that's the current Hard Eight, Will McKinnon, a former Hard Eight, John Lucian Goins, even though he was only on our team briefly. I mean, that JLG, the dude has some flow. He has he can hold the paddle. He has a very flowy style and a different style. And the two-handed backhand is on point, and the guy puts the ball in the kitchen a lot. So I think that he is impressive from a skill set standpoint, and I think Will McKinnon has improved a ton. The soft stuff, his ability to create offense, his hand speed are all top notch, but some of the soft stuff has betrayed him in the past, and I think he has cleaned it up in a big way, and that he has grown quite a bit as an 18-year-old throughout the MLP season. I'm excited to see what the next 9 months have in store for him before 2027 MLP kicks off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do just a quick kind of recap of Chicago. It was a little bit interesting because on the last episode, we kind of talked about the slice. And one of the comments we made was that, they're sitting 14-15. They kind of traded away, Hunter, they traded away their established veterans, Mari, obviously. And we thought, okay, they're going to go with this youth movement. I don't want to use the word punting on the season, but they're kind of punting on the season. And instead they were like, no, we're young, we're dumb. We don't actually understand how big of a situation this is. And we're going to go out and win some games.
I mean, they
and
balled
the
out.
Slice, they balled out. The kids are going to be all right, Adam Stone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, significant elder statesman on the women's side of the things, Jamie Way, still not that old in general terms, but
what is he,
compared to
27 or something?
Yeah, compared to Emma Nelson and Elsie Hendershot. So they had a rotation of those ladies playing. The Iceman, AJ Kohler, stepped up in a nice way. And of course, JLG, John Lucian Goins, who we already talked about. Sometimes the future is far, far away, and sometimes it creeps up on you quicker than you expect. So extremely good play for them. And I think the key to the Chicago Slice in this past tournament was the fact that Zane Navratil was not in attendance.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the team vibes were much higher without Zane there. You don't have a C-level player coming in trying to take reps from any of the actual professionals. Some people need to stick to podcasts, and that's what Zane is a lot better at. So the big thing with the Slice, obviously I was impressed with the teenagers. I thought they played well. Emma Nelson was on our team. We were very high on her. We did have a chance, obviously, once we got Zoe Weil. Emma wasn't going to get, the reps because we felt like Emma's more of a, her and Sarah just didn't mesh great. So, we traded her away for Jelena Ingram, who was another young kid who I think is very promising and talented as well. But I thought Emma played phenomenal. We played them Sunday. Now, here's the interesting thing. We played them Sunday, and it did feel like, if I'm being honest, they kind of ran out of juice. I thought going into Sunday against them, we played them in the second place game, I guess, for third place. I love how they call it the second place game, but it's actually for third place, the number 2 spot. But we played them, and it just felt like, Jamie Way, I thought heading into Sunday was the MVP of that event. I think she was the clear-cut MVP, her or JW Johnson. And Jamie, I think she just kind of ran out of juice. It wasn't her best. Elsie and Emma kind of struggled a little bit, but JLG, we beat him 3-0, and JLG was still the best player on the court.
Yeah.
He was insane funk again. Yeah. I mean, I think if he has turned that corner, because remember, he won those 2 singles titles, and then he disappeared for 6 months.
Yep.
And then he came back, and he had a good showing at PPA finals, and it seems like that's kind of carried over into the summer.
Right. And anytime you have the deception and the funk that I mentioned, but it doesn't affect your ball making ability and your consistency, that is a very nice combination to have. And Jimmy, another team that played pretty well this last weekend was the Miami Pickleball Club. And one of the players that played very well for them was Anouar Braham, former Cal Black Bear. We discussed Emma Nelson. What is going on in the front office in California?
Listen, if we decide to let you go, just know that it is a good thing for your future, clearly, because whatever it is, I don't know. But look, Anouar, I don't want to say we had to convince Johnny Goldberg to keep Anouar, but I think Johnny Goldberg had some ideas in his head on how he wanted to develop his team.
He's an idea man.
And he's an idea man. And after we traded Anouar, we had a chance to get Dylan Frazier. Like it's tough to we loved Anouar. We thought he had tons of potential. His decision making was a little bit sus at the time, but he has all the shots. He probably, I would argue with anybody that he might have the best overhead in pickleball. The ball is just not coming back. It's pretty insane. And so Johnny, I didn't know what Johnny's plans were, but Anouar, after we traded him, he sent Adam, and this is probably might get me in trouble, but he sent maybe the most heartfelt text I have ever seen to me personally. And then he sent one to the ownership group. And Richie actually passed it on to Johnny. And he said, Johnny, like, I don't know if this influences what your plan is, but this is who you're getting. And Johnny actually said, dude, yeah, the plan was probably to keep him, but I have to keep him now. Well, I think Johnny Goldberg is happy he kept him.
Yeah, that's
because the kid was phenomenal.
Yes, he was. And that's a lovely, heartfelt story as well. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And last thing on the recap of the event in Chicago, James Walter Johnson does it again. The dude is an absolute freaking monster. 2 or 3 years ago on the broadcast, I was calling for more off the bounce speed ups and more movement from JW. And I kind of just went away from that. I was like, the dude's a stud even when he's not doing those things. So he's just playing his style, and I backed off. Well, he has picked it back up, and some of those things that people were calling for years ago are starting to be a big part of his game. And the damn ball comes off his paddle differently. The guy is playing like an absolute champion right now.
Dallas has won 11 straight matches. They've won 2 straight events. This is a team that got absolutely shut out in Austin. 0 points. Dead last in Austin. And they're now in 4th. And JW Johnson, look, Danielle's great, and Alex, and Mark Molthen, he didn't punt on the season. He found he reloaded instead of trying to rebuild. I give him all the props in the world. But the man that carries that team is JW Johnson. And Adam, he looked like the best player in the world this weekend.
Correct.
Better than Ben Johns.
Not an over-exaggeration.
No, he was unreal. And to cap it off, he's 7-1's Christopher Hayworth in the Dream Break.
Yeah. I mean, insanity. Like the man, he was cutting across the court, flicking forehands from his shoe tops for clean winners through the middle. As soon as an exchange happens and he gets a hold of one ball, the point is completely different and usually over from that point on. It was very, I mean, Brooke Buckner, great job. Alex Trung, great job. Danny L, fantastic. Augie stepped it up. But it is JW, the engine of that team, and best in the world is not an overstatement from what I have seen the last handful of times I put my eyes on his play.
Yeah. It's JW's world. We're just living in it. And we're going to talk about how it's shock and fives. They're heavy favorites. You check Polymarket and it's like 40, I think it's 86 cents to win $1 on the shock, and it's 87 cents to get to your dollar, I guess, on the fives. But if you need that kind of underdog play, and you want that Columbus sliders of last year where, you can make a little bit of money, and if you can hit on this, I think that team is the Flash.
I agree. And I think that at this point, I would say for the absolute MLP title, Ranchers and Palm Beach are not really in the mix for me any longer, but I would almost put Dallas right there with the sliders above Brooklyn, a hobbled Brooklyn, and the Mad Drops with the slightly less engaged Ben Johns. And I think you have to put Dallas right there with those two teams, if not above them, for the chance to be the dark horse to win the title.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at the way the points are set up right now, because LA and Brooklyn play Orlando. Essentially, LA is only 1 point behind the Flash right now. And then I think Brooklyn's like 6. So I would expect both of those teams to leap the Flash, which means first round of the playoffs, Dallas is going to be there, probably as the 6th seed in their home city. And it is going to be absolute electric and rocking Pickler universe.
And they might be playing you or us as
And
well.
we might end up having to play them. Yeah, because for those that don't know, teams 5, 6, and 7 get to choose their opponents. And they choose teams from, essentially the 9 to 12. And then the last team obviously will take whoever's left. And if you look at the playoffs right now, it's like, okay, you guys are probably, as it sits I think you're in the 9 spot or so, right? Does a team say, oh, there's no Arman Bhatia, do we want to take a shot with SoCal? Right? If the Slice somehow, get hot, it's like, okay, yeah, they made it, but they're still the kids, right? The Bears, still somewhat inconsistent at times. It's like, okay, we have a history of playing Dylan Frazier and Pablo Tejas. We're okay with that. We feel good about that. The other team is Atlanta Bouncers, right? It's like, what? That team, we just talked about Anouar Braham. I mean, he beat Jaume and Mari 11-1. Right? It's like, okay, do we have the book on that team? And then obviously Palm Beach and the Ranchers, those are kind of the teams all vying for the playoff spots. And so the fact that, there's going to be some difficult decisions to make for these top teams on who they want to play. And Miami still not mathematically eliminated, by the way.
Yeah, they have 20 points, I believe. So if they and that's the group that you want to be in, because you have the heavy hitting St. Louis Shock, the hobbled Brooklyn pickleball team, and then you have the Squeeze, the Phoenix Flames, the Miami Pickleball Club, and Las Vegas. That is Group A for the Orlando event. And then if you shift over to the group that you are in, the California Black Bears with the Slice, you have the Lowly Hogs.
Let's just call this the group of death, because that's what it is.
You have the Lowly Hogs, and then you have Palm Beach, Los Angeles Mad Drops, and the Fives. It is going to be difficult for any team to bust into those top 3, and that's just what it is on paper right now.
And and like you said, looking at it on paper, you're like, okay, well, the Slice, we thought that they were going the opposite direction. The Slice are in that group, and they just finished, 4th in Chicago. And yeah, it's going to be tough for us. Just to give you an idea, for the Black Bears, looking at the math, we are most likely, it looks like we will have to finish ahead of the Hogs and the Slice in that group, and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So that's the Bears versus Slice match is probably for a playoff spot.
Massive. And that is the group of 6. So we'll go ahead and throw the Hogs into that 0.6 of 6. So one of those 2 teams, most likely between the Bears and the Slice, will not be making Sunday in that group if you go by chalk and what's on paper. And that is a difficult group, to say the least.
Yeah, if you want to make Sunday, you're going to have to beat the Hogs and the Slice, or upset a Palm Beach, or, hopefully Connor Garnett and Catherine Prento don't mesh well, right? It's going to be tough. And then the other group, I think originally it looked tough, but again, Orlando, the Greg Dow and Jack Sock experiment will be a lot of length and a lot of laughs. Well, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of points. Alex Walker and Lina and Lacey Schneeman, I don't know what they're going to roll out there. I heard Lacey expects to be back, but I don't know what they're going to roll out on that side of it. And then Vegas is another team fighting for a playoff spot that should feel pretty good about their pool right now.
Yeah.
Because if Vegas can get to that 3 spot, they're a lock.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is about the Squeeze is, I can't imagine. I saw Lacey Schneeman's ankle. I can't imagine, even if she does play, that she is at a full-on 100%. So, I think it's going to be very difficult for the Squeeze to earn a significant amount of points. And I would definitely have them below Las Vegas and right there at the bottom with the Miami Pickleball Club, the Squeeze, and the Phoenix Flames in Group A. So, and to be honest with you, in Group A, I think this is probably something crazy like 96% St. Louis, 3% Brooklyn, and then I'll just throw 1% for anyone else that could possibly come out of that pool. But there's just almost no way at this point.
I could also see look, Brooklyn is banged up, right? I mean, Riley has that bone bruise on his knee. Rachel's still hampered with the ankle from the scoreboard incident. Christian is Christian. You never know what's going on with that guy. I mean, there's just a lot. There's just a lot there. Iron Man, Cal Ripken, Jackie Kawamoto is kind of, the last starter, and props to her. I mean, they had a day, I think it was Saturday in Chicago, where her and Hannah Blatt went 22-1 against, I think it was the Ranchers in Miami. I mean, it's incredible. Jackie is. I said this on Twitter. I said if they can somehow finish in the 4 spot, she deserves MVP votes. With that being said, if we see Brooklyn drop an early match where they don't feel like they're going to be able to catch LA, because that's really what they're fighting for right now, is catching LA. And say they drop an early match and they're like, okay, LA's 2-0, we're 1-1, or we're 0-2. We have kind of the 5 locked up. As long as we get 6 points, they get the 5 seed. Do we see Brooklyn shut it down?
Yes.
I mean, they've been known to do that, right? They played Stefan. They went and got the onside alternate last week because they already had the 1 seed locked up and the Ranchers had the 4, and they played Stefan. So do we see them shut it down to continue let these guys get healthy, which then puts the entire playoff race in disarray?
Yes, it certainly does. And I think that that's a very viable statement there, and something that absolutely could happen from the Brooklyn pickleball team. On the other side of things, the ownership and everything from the St. Louis Shock, they are the complete opposite. I know there's been St. Louis Shock players that have wanted to sit out a match or two, but the Chafitzes will not allow it because they want to step on throats every chance they get in that group. So 2 different situations there, but I think a Brooklyn shutdown is something that very well could happen, and only time will tell if we do end up seeing that, and that could open up the door for maybe the SoCal Hard Eights not advancing if one of those lower teams really gets put up points wise.
Yeah, does Miami all of a sudden jump up into the freaking 2 spot or the 3 spot, and then Miami walks away with 12 huge points and everything changes, right? You just don't know, and so this is what we want, right? It's the last event. There's 12 teams there, and there's still a lot to play for. On the Black Bear side, I think we know what we needed to do. We knew going into our last 3 events that we had to essentially finish 3rd, 2nd, and probably 3rd or 4th. And we got the 3rd in San Diego. We got the 2nd. I hate saying 2nd because it really wasn't 2nd. It was 3rd.
Right.
But we won the 2nd place game.
Yes.
Got the 15 points. And now, we're in a good position in Orlando. But we're also, like I said, this group is tough. And it's one of those groups where if we went 3-2, I'd be ecstatic. If we went 1-4, it wouldn't shock me.
No, totally. And I gave those lopsided percentages for Group A and the Black Bears in Group B. It's somewhat similar. I think we're literally talking an 88 type % chance for the New Jersey Fives to win. Los Angeles has Ben John, so I'm going to throw them 8%. And I don't think that the California Black Bears are too terribly different. I would still give a slight edge on paper to Palm Beach, but I'll throw 2% there and 2% to you guys because the Fives are a juggernaut. And I do have one question for you about the Fives. I think it is very clear that they have upgraded the roster with the addition of Federico Staksrud, but how significantly do you think that upgrade kind of pans out when one of Will Howes or Noe Cliff will not be in the doubles lineup?
Yeah, look, I think Fed is better than Noe and Will Howes, okay? I don't think that there's like a massive argument there. However, this is one event, the first event together. Fed has never played with Annalie Waters that I know of. In fact, if we want to talk a little MLP history, I believe Fed used the B word when talking about Annalie Waters in Dallas, Nationals, Worlds, whatever. Ended up a little confrontation with AJ Kohler because of it. And, the cops were called and it got a little heated. and now they're teammates. So with that being
Uh-huh.
said, but I do think it is an upgrade, obviously, but continuity matters, Adam. Like I'll give you a great example. I mean, obviously, the Bears, our girls, in arguably a weaker group, went 1-4 in San Diego, Zoe and Sarah. First time they'd ever played together. Zoe was on the right. She's usually used to playing the left. They went 1-4, struggled against some teams we felt like we probably should have beat. They went 5-0 in Chicago because they got used to each other. There's the continuity there. They figured it out, right? And so I think that there may be a little bit of a learning curve here, but Fed is a pro. The question is what lineups do you play? Because is it Fed and Annalie? Do you just have that super lineup? Do you have that top team and you're like, look, you two, we expect you two to win every single mixed, and we expect our women to win every single time. And then if our men lose or we lose the other mixed, we can rotate those and figure out what works. Or, I mean, what's the play there?
No, I understand. And I do think that Fed, being known as that high floor player, probably has a skill set that does mesh quicker than some other skill sets. But while Fed is elite at singles and men's doubles, I think he's only very good at mixed doubles. So that is his third best event, no question. And also, he has the flexibility to play right or left, no way, and Will House both prefer the left, even though they have gotten better and more comfortable on the right side. So I think the amount of alignments that we could see, specifically in men's doubles, is pretty significant. And I think it's huge for the Fives to have an event before the playoffs start in Orlando. And I think it's something that we really need to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. And the other thing I don't think can be understated is how much the Fives just upgraded their Dream Breaker as well.
Yes, big time.
Because you just added, the number one singles player in the world. The number, I guess he's top. We'll say top three because him, Hayworth, and
Sure.
Hunter continue to.
Sure.
But Noe is a fine singles player. Will Howells is a fine singles player, but neither one is Federico Staksrud.
That's a fact.
And so having that, especially after the Shock went out and got Hunter Johnson, I think it's a nice little counterpunch for the Fives. I would say, Adam, if you go look at Polymarket right now and you look at the MLP champions, okay? The predictions for MLP champions. First of all, 12,500, 12.5K is currently tradable, which is a pretty significant amount. That means there's been a lot of money put on predicting these MLP champions. I believe the Shock are still the favorites. It's like 86 cents or so. You bet 86 cents, you win 14. I think that the Fives are right below that. But we talked about this earlier. Is this where you like go out and you maybe make a little bit of a play for a Dallas Flash? Do you bet a little underdog here? Is a healthy Brooklyn good enough? I don't know. But maybe Columbus gets hot again. It's really hard to ever count out Andre Daescu, especially when it matters. I mean, I watched that guy in a match where they were winning 3-0 against, I believe it was the Phoenix Flames. It was 3-0, and he's playing the last mixed match of the day in San Diego. It's hot. It's miserable. And he's looking at Paris Todd, and he's like, let's effing go, P. Let's effing go, P. And he's fired up. Like, he's playing it like it's Game 7 of the World, and that's hard to count a guy out like that. So is that where, do you think maybe, bet some underdogs here?
Yeah, I mean, he gives you the crazy eyes. He's got the gritty teeth right there.
Oh,
He's doing backhand roll shadow swings on. That's not even a shot that he has.
He does,
but he does the shadow swings because he's that damn intense about it.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. And I think so. I'm looking at it right now. Basically, you have to buy the Shock and the Fives at 35 cents on the dollar to win the entire thing for 2026. And then there is 4 teams underneath that are right around where you would have to buy for 7 cents. That's Brooklyn, Sliders, Flash, and Mad Drops. And I think it's the Sliders and the Flash for me in the 3 and the 4 spot. So I think if you're going to throw a flyer on a high risk, high return investment, that putting some money on the Sliders and the Flash, who seem to have the intensity, they seem to have the team connectivity for now. And I think that that's where I would put my money on if I'm going for a non-chalk play. And of course, chalk being the shock and the fives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 7 cents, I mean, that's a massive return if they can pull off, that upset. It feels like it's probably worth the upset play there. And yeah, by the way, funny story. You talk about Andre and the shadow swings. I watched him do that in San Diego. It reminds me of a guy, and I'm sure you know this guy, Austin Gridley.
Oh my
I
God,
would
the
watch
Gridler. The
the
Gridler.
Gridler. I would watch the Gridler. So he's a Utah guy. He would miss a dink, Stone, and then he would, and he's right-handed to be clear, and he would walk off the court, and he would hit 200 shadow dinks left-handed after he missed a right-handed dink. I
That's
never
next
understood
level.
it. I didn't get it, but the intensity, it gives me a little bit of Descu vibes there.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, Jimmy, there's not always something to get when it comes to the Gridler. So
That is true.
I,
Listen,
I
we
played a
could do a
tournament
whole
with him.
pod on Gridler episodes.
I played one tournament with him. It did not go particularly well for us, but I am a fan of the Gridler, and I always like to bring up some of those old school personalities that we've had in the game for a while. He's a good one for sure.
Well, he was a guy. I'll just give one more. We played in Vegas on top of the Plaza Hotel,
Yep. Yep.
right? They used to do that event there, and he drove the 6 hours from Utah. His car broke down like 2 hours outside of Vegas. He posted on Facebook, "Can anyone pick me up?" Somehow he got a ride. He didn't have a hotel. He slept on top of the Plaza, literally like on one of the pool beds. And he's sitting in this corner. It's 110 degrees. I walk over. I was like, "Austin, how are you, bud?" And he's eating a Little Caesars pizza and has a 2 liter of Dr. Pepper. And he's literally out there playing a pro tournament.
Yeah, that's
And he's
right.
like, "This was $6. It's a great deal. I can eat it for 2 days." And I was like, "Awesome." Like, that's the Gridler.
That is the Gridler. And Austin Gridley does have a win over Ben and Colin
He
Johns with
does.
Mario Barrientos. So another little
Yes.
fun fact there.
Yes, he does. And he made a video about it. And the
He did.
title of the video was "How I Beat Ben Johns." And I don't know why that made me laugh, but I did click on it.
Yes, and I will say that for one last thought here on the 2026 MLP Championship winner, some of that volume that we've seen added there on Polymarket, it is showing that people have soured on the LA Mad Drops. They were up there in the third spot, or just not just under, but the third team with the highest percentage win under the shock and the fives, and now they have dipped down to 4%. You can buy them for exactly 7 cents on the dollar. So the question is, we have mentioned that we have soured a little bit on them too, but how far does a team fall who has the greatest player to ever do it in Ben Johns to where it could be a buying opportunity? Just throwing that out.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm going to wear this Expos hat today in honor of Catherine Parento. Her family were season ticket holders to the Expos. She grew up playing baseball, and obviously she's a member of the LA Mad Drops. It's very hard for me to ever bet against Benjamin Johns. I think that is a tough. We can talk all we want about his interest levels, his how much he cares, how much he doesn't care. The fact of the matter is even a disinterested Ben Johns is still one of the best players in the world. And I think that that's actually insanely overstated when it comes to Ben. And the reason I say that is because he has created such a massive expectation on the level that he plays at, that when he has even an off game or an off day, it's like we immediately try to find these excuses on why he didn't play well. And that's just basically his own creation of how freaking good he is. And so it's like, oh, Ben must not have been interested this game. Oh, Ben, and there could be a million reasons why Ben Johns didn't go out and win 11-1, 11-2, right? He's still Ben freaking Johns. And so for me, it's like, look, you step into a PPA, Ben Johns versus Hayden Patriquin, and you're taking Ben Johns all day long. if you had to put money on it, right? You step into, any other event and it's like Ben Johns. Now, MLP, obviously, it's a little bit different, but if you strip it all down, 7 cents to bet on the number one player in the world, it feels like it's worth the play, right? Like, am I crazy about that?
No, just a little food for thought. And I'll tell you right
Yeah.
now, I've lost to Ben Johns at least 10 times when he was looking at the clouds in between points. So completely disinterested until and still absolutely wiped the floor with me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's definitely a thing, and I think that is something that was important for us to bring up. So
Yeah. I'm going to give you, before we end, one last thing.
please,
Give me your 12 MLP playoff teams. Put you on the spot right now. You got
geez.
to make a prediction. Who
Let
makes
me
the
take a little
playoffs?
look see here. Let me take a little look see. Give me 12 seconds here to take a little look see. Pool of death. That is one of the issues for sure. I'm gonna say that the night owls get in there. I'm gonna take you guys over the slice, and I actually think the slice get booted out of there, and I think that the night owls are going to get in there because of the discrepancy in those two groups in Orlando. So I have that as, so we got 5 shot drop sliders, Brooklyn, Dallas, Palm Beach, Texas Ranchers, California Black Bears, Atlanta Bouncers, SoCal Hard Eights, Las Vegas Night Owls, and the Slice do not follow up their fantastic Chicago because of the difficulty of their group in Orlando. And I do believe that the California Black Bears beat the Chicago Slice in that group in Orlando.
So the slice end up as the first team out. Yeah, I think that obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I think that is my prediction as well. I think Miami and Chicago end up on the outside looking in. I think it's too much for them to overcome. And then the playoffs get really interesting, which we'll do another pod next week to kind of preview that. But yeah, Orlando coming up, ESPN, Wide World of Sports. Indoor, I was told there is a new platform that is coming from Germany that they're putting these rollout courts on that it's supposed to give more. It's a little bit bouncier. It's this proprietary platform, and I believe Orlando is going to be the first event they roll it out. And so let's see if we, are this may change things a little bit.
I mean, Jimbo always bringing the insider knowledge. I don't know how you do it. I
Huh.
do not know,
Huh.
but you got
I got to
the
keep that ear to the ground.
uh-huh. Absolutely.
All right, Stoney, we'll see you next week. And yeah, say a little prayer for the Bears tonight, will you?
Yeah. I will probably pass on that, but best of luck anyway.